Hey, thanks for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we have storms ongoing right now. You probably saw that severe thunderstorm warning popping up on your screen there. We have storms that are moving into Davenport, Iowa right now. So yes, storms are ongoing. Most of this will be the garden variety, quarter-sized hail type of thunderstorm, where you can hear the strike of light or see the strike of lightning, hear the rumble of thunder, but for the most part, none of these too concerning right now. We do have an increasing risk for severe weather later on this afternoon and evening, so that'll be a tornado and a large hail risk. And finally, after this risk moves through today, we turn our attention to Sunday, down to the south, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, all getting in on that severe weather action. But let's take a look at what we saw earlier this morning. So you can see that yesterday afternoon into the evening hours, we were pretty quiet. Storms we didn't expect to fire up until late last night, basically early this morning, right? And that's exactly what happened. We saw those storms tracking out of Omaha. We have a report for some hail in Omaha here, but really what we saw was an uptick in storm severity this morning. And we saw storms anywhere from Ames, Iowa, all the way out to the east into the eastern side of Iowa. Now storms are slowly tracking to the east and into Indiana. You can even see some of those hail reports moving into the northern side of Indiana, just to the north of Illinois. To the north of Illinois. There we go, just to the north of Chicago. We will eventually get to Indiana. I've been doing forecasts for Indiana all day long. But Illinois was where we got those storm reports this morning. A little bit cooler out there across the plains. And then into the Four Corners, you can see those temperatures have cooled down a little bit, below average for this time of the year. It's windy also. I can hear the wind from inside the building right now, blowing really, really hard out there. It's a cold wind, so it's really uncomfortable. And if you saw the forecast yesterday, you saw me complain about the wind yesterday. I won't complain too much today. We'll talk about the storms. We've got the heat out there. We've got a little bit of moisture moving up as well, and that's going to help our storm development this afternoon and evening. Tomorrow, temperatures are cooling down. You're going to see the maps here in just a minute. And these places that are getting storms today are getting snow just behind those storms, and I'll talk about that timeline as well. We finally start to warm up just a little bit as we head into the end of this week. But there you go. There is your storms right now. There's your low pressure system. The closer you are to this pretty significant low, the stronger those storms are going to be. You can see that low pressure system right here. How we know, just by looking at this map, you don't have to see any numbers. How we know that this is a strong low pressure system is how tight these lines can be to each other. So how close can they be to each other? And seeing all of these lines right here really shows us a sharp gradient, so a sharp change in pressure as we go, or pressure or height, as we go closer to this low, and that tells us that this low is strong. So there's a quick way for you to recognize this is a strong low pressure system, but I'll move on from that. We do have a front right now that's helping to keep these storms alive as we go into the early afternoon. But we will see more development from some of these storms, and that'll be what we're watching for as we head into the evening hours. I'm not terribly concerned with the storms that we have right now. That risk is going to increase as we head into the evening. There you go. You can see that low pressure system a little bit better right here. Kansas City, 47 right now, 32 up in Denver, 35 in Billings, and 44 here in Oklahoma City. It is windy and cold right now, 36 in Minneapolis, and a lot warmer out to the east. We do have some fire weather alerts right now because it is so dry out there. We've got some dry air moving up to the north and east as well, and then we've got, of course, that strong wind, so any fire that goes up is going to spread pretty quickly, and of course that is really, really terrible because our vegetation is also really dry right now, so it's got lots of fuel to work with. Moving on to the storms. So I mentioned I'm going to give a wide view first, and then we're going to go in and we're really going to get down state by state, city by city, and we're going to go through these storms as they track to the east through the afternoon and evening hours. But I want to show you right now, here's your low pressure system. Behind the low, that's all of that cold air carrying that snow with it, anywhere from Iowa to Nebraska. Nebraska already got some snow. all the way into Kansas. I'll tell you, whenever this band of snow was farther back to the west, farther back into West Kansas last night. It was blowing so hard, there was low visibility across I-70 in Goodland, Kansas, so right up in the northwest corner there, that they shut down I-70. There was very little visibility, and they do this every now and then because they don't want those semis to blow over. They don't want those semis to run into anything, and so they shut down the highway for a period of time until that snow tracked farther to the east. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. We're watching for not only severe weather, but also that winter weather farther back to the west. But let's go back to severe weather now. We have a line of storms that we're expecting all the way down as far south as Mississippi. But the risk for severe weather is really isolated in between Illinois and Indiana and maybe even northern Kentucky right here. So let's go through this. This will track to the east. As it does track to the east, we're going to see that severe risk decrease as we head into the late night hours, early on Thursday morning. Not too worried about those storms farther out to the east on Thursday or Friday. And Saturday looks pretty quiet as well. Alrighty, let's move on and get a city-by-city look here. So here's your SBC risk. You may see a few differences between our risks and the SBC risk, but I like to show both, and I like to talk about why we've made those differences. It is a level 3. That was upgraded this morning. That's an enhanced risk highlighted here in orange. And then we've got an area highlighted here in yellow. That is a level 2, a slight risk. Thank you for commenting and joining us on Facebook today. Great timing. The question is, what is happening in Illinois? So we've got showers and storms going on right now. I'm not too worried about the showers right now. Maybe a strike of lightning, maybe a rumble of thunder, but for the most part, these storms are the garden variety. What we're really watching for are those storms that are forming back into Missouri and then up into Iowa. This is what we're watching for this afternoon. So this line of storms, as it progresses and moves to the east as we head into the afternoon hours, this is what we're watching for to be those strong, severe storms. You will have a tornado risk and you will have a hail risk. That'll be the main risks that we're watching for here. So this will continue to track to the east. It's rainy in Chicago, it's rainy in Illinois all day long. You get a brief break and then those severe storms come in. So what's your timing here? For central Illinois, we're talking about 2 to 5, maybe 6 o'clock this evening. Whenever we look a little bit farther to the east in places like Chicago, that timeline extends a little bit later into the night. So we're talking about 7 to 9 o'clock for Chicago. I did see someone comment about central Indiana. So let's talk about central Indiana. Perfect pause here. Right around 8 o'clock, we'll start to see those storms moving into the central portion of the state, maybe a little bit before 8. Then as we head into the late night hours, your severe risk will slowly go down. So where will the largest hail, where will the biggest tornado threat be? That's going to be farther out to the western side of the state in between that Indiana and Illinois state line. And then that severe risk goes down as we head farther to the east. So here we go. Into the late night hours, basically overnight at this point, midnight, we're just talking about okay, so if you guys can hear me now, our mic is out, but we have a solution, and we're going to grab another mic. So give us just a minute here.
Can you guys hear me now? We are problem solvers here at Hailtrace, so we will fix this mic issue.
How about now? How does our audio sound? Sounds good? Alrighty. In that case, we will continue. We just needed a little intermission, just a little pause there. Anyway, we were talking about storms farther down to the south, okay? We're talking about these storms starting around 3 o'clock in the far western side of Tennessee, far western side of Kentucky, and then all the way down into central Mississippi. You're going to see those storms into the afternoon, progress through the states, again, losing a lot of that severity. And I think, did you just notice what the radar did here, what happened here? Those storms, very isolated at first, became a lot more clustered, a lot more widespread. There's more storms on the map now. The more widespread these storms are, the lower the risk is going to be for large hail and a tornado. These storms need to be isolated. We call this discrete, so that they can have enough energy and enough room around them to organize and go strong, to go severe, right? So the more clustered, the more widespread they become as they head off to the east into the late night hours, the less severe they're going to be, the weaker they get. But you may get more rain the farther west that you go. We need that rain here in Oklahoma and Texas. Let's talk about the snow. So there was your severe risk. If you need to go back and look at that severe risk one more time, you can always do that after this live ends. And we're also going to break down the hazards. So give us just a minute and we'll go into hail, tornado, wind, and a large hail threat. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But here's your future radar with that snow mixed in as well. So here's the showers that we're watching right now. Not too worried about these that are coming into Chicago within the next few hours. We're watching these storms farther back to the west, again coming in through the late night hours, right around sundown, if not slightly before, continuing to track to the east as the sun sets. There you go for central Indiana. Once again, what did I say earlier, 8 o'clock or shortly before? Here's your radar view at 7 o'clock. And then everyone that got storms in Iowa and northern Missouri, all the way into Illinois, your rain switches into snow, and we are seeing snow coming through. So with this high wind, you can see blowing snow that could create a visibility issue as we head into the early morning hours on Thursday. So Chicago, you're not only watching for the hail and that tornado threat tonight, but you are also watching for that visibility and that snow issue that could cause some problems on the roads if you're an early riser on early Thursday morning. The farther this tracks to the east, I'm not terribly as concerned about this snow risk as we track to the east here. Again, that severity goes down, right, the farther east that we go. All right, let's go back to severe weather now. We talked about snow enough. Winter weather, you guys got it. The Midwest, you can handle winter weather. Here is your hail risk. So these areas highlighted in yellow, highlighted in orange, that is going to be your larger hailstones. So as we head into, let's go a little bit farther in advance. 1 o'clock here, where's that hail risk? Central Illinois, as we head into the evening hours, that'll slowly move. It looks like it just tries to target Chicago here. Again, I told you that one of the most impressive areas for large hail will be right along the Illinois and Indiana state line. But then that goes down the farther east that it tracks as it heads into Ohio. I saw someone earlier talk about how Ohio is, it seems like there's like a line going from Illinois to Ohio where that severe weather just stops. And I feel like with this last risk that we saw on Saturday and Sunday, that's exactly what happened, and it feels like that's what happens right here as well. One thing I like to do with this model is I like to overlay our hail risk, which I just showed you, highlighted there in white and in yellow, and I like to overlay it with the radar. So you can start to see those better chances for strong storms as we head into the afternoon hours. Storms coming into Champaign, 4 o'clock. Storms just outside of Chicago by like an hour or two. 4 o'clock there, pretty decent hail risk. Going into Chicago right around or shortly before sunset. still a decent hail risk, and then that hail risk goes down as you head farther to the east. How many times have I said that? Hail risk goes down as you head farther to the east. All right, here's your hail forecast. Here's your official hail forecast. I think that we could see anywhere between $half size to golf ball size hail from Chicago to Indianapolis. The size goes down the farther south that you go. Better chances anywhere from Chicago through most of Indiana, but head farther to the west and to the south if you're looking for those larger hail sizes. The risk level here, I'm keeping it at a level 2. That's a moderate risk. And we can zoom in so that you can see this area just a little bit better. Again, we're cutting this off in the northeast corner, smaller hail sizes in the northeast corner, and then southwest corner of Illinois, I think, are going to be smaller hail sizes. We really see that peak hail size on our hail model right between Indiana and Illinois state line. Golf ball size hail, I think, is absolutely possible. I think it'll be pretty isolated, but I think it's absolutely possible with these storms this evening. Your wind risk, anywhere between about 65 to 70 miles an hour for your high wind gusts. The tornado risk is something that I'm a little bit more concerned about here, so I'm not terribly concerned about that high wind risk, but the tornado risk has actually increased quite a bit with models in the last 12 to 18 hours. So we've been looking at models all day, and the more and more that we look at them, the more impressive this tornado risk becomes, especially with those storms that are forming in the afternoon and moving to the east through the evening hours. So your tornado risk here is going to be right around, let's say about 3 to 4 o'clock, all the way to about 8 o'clock, okay? Right here, we could see some isolated strong tornadoes. So we are in that level 3 category, highlighted there in red. So that's the big risk today, hail and high wind. We're not done there, okay? I know that we moved on to your national radar. We've moved on to Friday, Saturday at this point. Sunday, we head down to Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and even portions of Mississippi, where we have another chance for storms, setting up late on Sunday and continuing into Monday. Already, and actually 2 days ago, the SPC has already been taking a look at this area right here. I have your risk in here. I'll show it to you in just a minute, but I do like this right here. You can see that we've got a little trough forming. That's on Sunday, heading out to the east on Monday. That's always a really good indicator of strong storms. So there you go. There's the risk that I was looking for. Again, this is Sunday. It does include Dallas, DFW, all the way down 35 here, all the way down 45, almost to Houston, and the east side of Texas, going into Texarkana, but then cutting off in the southern side of Arkansas and going into the northern side of Louisiana, barely including portions of Mississippi. However, I do think that as these storms track to the east, we could include more of Mississippi on Monday. So this is Sunday. We're giving you a several-day outlook here. Other than that, temperatures are going to be cooler over the next few days, finally warming up by this weekend. Unfortunately, it stays windy out there. You've heard me complain enough about the wind if you've heard our past few forecasts. It stays pretty windy. We'll get a little bit of a break during the end of the work week, but we see those wind speeds go right back up this weekend. Unfortunately, we could have a gorgeous Friday and Saturday, and it's ruined by those high winds. It will stay gusty. That is a fire danger concern, so make sure that you are refraining from any outdoor burning, especially if you have or if you are in a red flag warning or a burn ban. All right, taking a look at the extended temperature outlook, March 24th through the 28th. How did we already get to the end of March here? Temperatures are looking to be above average farther out to the west through the end of March. So we've got a warm up coming, a bit cooler farther out to the east. Also looking very dry. This has been very, very consistent through the middle of March, into March. We are going to stay dry in these areas from the plains all the way out to the Four Corners. Again, this is also going to increase your fire danger. So if it stays windy, we are going to continue to see those dust storms, just like we did last night, just like we did on Friday, last Friday. We are also going to continue to have to deal with that fire danger. So thanks for joining us today. As always, we are going to be tracking those storms, not only on social media, but we have 6 mapping Mets in-house right now, but they are staffed 24/7, so they'll be mapping those storms as well. If you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map, give us a call at 334-4245. We have those storms from Iowa this morning, all mapped. We have a few pictures, I think, on social media of those storms as well. Give us, send us an email at info@hailtrace.com, or even head over to our website, hailtrace.com, for more information on how you can get access to those hail, wind, and tornado maps. And as always, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We'd love to hear from you. Send us your hail pictures and let us know how you're using our app. Getting a look at those hail maps, getting out on the roads, knocking on doors, how are you using it? Alrighty, thanks for joining us today. We, of course, will see you for your forecast back here, same time, same place tomorrow.